Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Thanks so much for being here with us today. And happy Hairstylist Appreciation Month.
Woo!
I would love to know where you're tuning in from, so feel free to use the chat. I am tuning in from sunny St. Petersburg, Florida.
Well, I am Matthew Landis and I am in Palm Springs, California.
Awesome. Well, you guys are using the chat. I'm going to go ahead and kick things off. Oh, Virginia, New Mexico. Awesome. Land O'Lakes. Woo woo.
I think we have all
Florida.
time zones already.
Yeah, Colorado. Welcome. Well, thanks for being here, and hello, everyone. Welcome to the Beauty of Business webinar series. I'm Shannon at Elite Beauty Society, and I'm super excited to be co-hosting today as we celebrate Hairstylist Appreciation Month. For those new to Elite Beauty Society, we're an A-rated insurance provider designed specifically for licensed beauty professionals across the US, covering hairstylists, estheticians, nail techs, lash artists, and over 500 other modalities at one affordable annual rate. Beyond top quality coverage, our membership includes a full suite of exclusive member benefits, including discounts on industry-leading products, free continuing education, career resources, webinars, and more, all designed to support you throughout your career. To learn more, head to elitebeautysociety.com. Quick housekeeping before we dive in. Today's webinar is 1 hour long and being recorded. The replay will be emailed to everyone registered by tomorrow. I want to note that it might be in your spam folder, and I will remind you guys also at the end of the webinar, but it will be sent to you. And we'd love to hear from you, so please feel free to drop questions in the chat or use the Q&A feature at any time. We'll be watching both closely throughout. We'll also reserve the last 10 minutes for a dedicated Q&A session. That's it. Let's get started. The topic of today's webinar is the AI-boosted Salon Suite. Outsmart, Outshine, and Outbook, the competition. Please give a warm welcome to our host, Matthew Landis, the Director of Education at Image Studios, where he develops programs that empower independent beauty and wellness professionals. He's also the creator of Image Pro Academy, an education platform dedicated to essential business skills like marketing, pricing, and financial confidence. He's also the host of the VIP Suite at Image Studios podcast. Welcome, Matthew, and thank you for tuning into Elite Beauty Society's Beauty of Business webinar series.
Thank you so much, Shannon. It is so exciting to be here. I can't wait to get into this topic. You know, it's something that is quite shockingly, I don't see a lot of other people talking about. It's so crazy to me that we all hear so much about AI and the world is kind of moving in this direction. It already has moved in this direction. I mean, I started using AI about 2 years ago, and I can't believe how crazy it's gotten since then. So I'm really excited to talk about how you can use it in your business. Now, this course is one that I developed for our Image Pro Academy at Image Studios, which we call the next evolution in business and marketing resources for the Salon Suite Pro. So I'm just going to give you a little background there really quick. I've been a part of Image Studios, a luxury salon suite concept, since 2009. So since before the first one was even built. And marketing and business education has always been a part of our DNA. From the very beginning, before we even built that first building, our founder and CEO, Jason Olson, believed that there had to be a better way to do things. There had to be a better product for the hairdressers, for the nail techs, for the estheticians, for everybody. Not only did he want to provide better spaces, for people, but he wanted to provide the kind of business support to help us as entrepreneurs. And that's really what drove me to Image Studios. Being in a salon suite was not something that was on my radar. It wasn't something I was interested in. But when I saw what he wanted to do there at Image Studios and how much he really cared about the pros and our lives and our businesses, I knew that I had to be a part of it. Now, I am the director of education there, teaching those business and marketing classes. I'm also a business and marketing coach. I have a long, extensive resume that I won't go into, owning salons and doing television and all kinds of stuff. But I've been in this industry for over 30 years. I started in 1995. I always kind of laugh because in 1995, that was the year that Amazon sold its first Outbook. So I've been around as long as Amazon has been around. It was also the first season of Friends, the TV show, if that puts anything into context for you. So I've been around and I've seen a lot of changes. And this is, one of the biggest changes was social media, what, 15 years ago. And that changed the way that everything was done. It's so interesting to me, though, so much hasn't changed. It's still about giving a great haircut. It's still about the human touch. It's still about providing an amazing service and making people feel seen, heard, and loved. That's still the essential part of our business. The only thing that has really changed is a lot of the marketing, especially the marketing tools. And social media really enabled a lot of younger people to get busier faster. It also leveled the playing field. Back in, 2010 or earlier, a lot of the industry was top down. So it was really coming out of New York, Los Angeles, London. And what social media is, it really flattened the playing field. So somebody in Gary, Indiana could become a superstar overnight. And it really, I think, brought a lot of great things to this industry and certainly made it easier to market yourself. And now with AI, that's even going to propel things to a whole other level. So business owners who use AI, this is why you might think about it. I know there's a lot of people who have trepidations about AI, and I think those are all valid. But here's what it can actually do for you. First thing is it can help you grow your business faster. So when you own your own business, like I do, like our salon suite owners do, you are not only doing hair or doing nails or skin, you're now the CEO, you are the marketing manager, you're the receptionist, you are sometimes the bathroom attendant. You're all of those things wrapped into one. So for me, I want to focus on the things that I really love to do and that I'm good at doing. So if I can have something, anything to make my life easier and make my business better, I am going to adopt that and I'm going to love it. And that's really, I think, what AI has done for me using it these last 2 years that I have been. It's helped me grow my coaching business. It's helped me really develop, I think, better programs for the Image Pro Academy. A lot of really great things, and I think it can help you. Now, market smarter. So, what I mean by that, and I teach a marketing course, and the most important question you can ask yourself when marketing yourself and your business is, who is my ideal customer? Who is the person that I am trying to reach? And we're people pleasers in this business. So when I ask people, who is your ideal customer? Usually the answer I get is very wishy-washy and very like, well, basically anybody with money. And the answer I always say is no, that is not your ideal customer. Your ideal customer is a very specific type of person that you are marketing to. For example, my ideal customer is named Elaine. She is in her 60s. She is semi-retired. She's got money. She's got time to spend. And so that's the kind of person that I want to reach through my marketing. So all of my marketing is directed at all of the Elaines of the world. So when I teach marketing, my question for you is, who is your Elaine? Now, AI can help you figure that out. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So, marketing smarter, figuring out who you're marketing to, where they're hanging out, and the kind of information that they want to hear and that they want to see. It's also going to save you time. I use it every day for even the most mundane, silly things like emails. Sometimes I want to save my brain power for the good stuff. So sometimes an email or a response is something I'm like, okay, write this for me. I'll go in and I'll fix it. I'll edit it, but it'll sound a lot better coming from you. So, and I'm going to show you how all of that works. So what you're going to learn in this webinar is how AI helps in real businesses, how it's going to help you specifically. And I'm going to teach you how to teach AI to help you specifically, not hairdressers, not salons. So your AI, for your AI, whatever AI you choose, you are its ideal customer. So you're going to teach it all about you so that it can deliver for you specifically the kind of things that you want. Not all 30 people on this webinar, you and you alone. So I'm going to teach you how to talk to it so it actually works for you. And then we're going to give you some things that you can use immediately. All right, here's what it will do for you. It can be a drafting tool. Like I said, emails aren't necessarily fun to write. I think we can all agree. Maybe you have a cancellation policy that you want to just sort of tighten up and you can't find the right words. And so AI can help you draft that. It's a really great thing. It can help you draft captions for your Instagram. It can help you do a lot of those things. It can be a thinking partner. So as a coach, I find it interesting that AI can also work as a coach. I ask it all sorts of questions all the time uh, related to my business, and it knows me well enough at this point that I don't have to teach it every single time that I use it. It knows me. A planning assistant. Now, it can, especially when it comes to marketing, the AI can really help you plan out your marketing so that you can be more proactive with your marketing and less reactive. And one of the things that I talk a lot about in my coaching, especially when it comes to marketing, is passive versus active marketing. So going after your business or helping people find you versus, well, I put stuff on Instagram and nobody's calling. That's what I call passive marketing, when you're just sort of throwing stuff out there and hoping that people will come to you. So it can help me plan a little bit better, be more proactive, less reactive. All right, what it isn't. It is not a replacement for you. It will never be able to do a haircut or a color or a nail set or a tattoo like you can. It's never going to give your customers the human touch that they crave, that space that you hold for them. You will never be able to do those beautiful, I call sacred things that we as service providers provide for our customers. It's never going to replace those. If anything, it's going to give you more time and more mental space to do a better job at the things that you love to do and that your clients are coming to you for. So it is not a replacement. It is not a personality. It is not a person. My AI has a name. Her name is Thelma, but I realize that Thelma is not actually a real person. Giving her a name sort of helps me talk to her. But that doesn't mean that doesn't mean she's a person. And it's not that client relationship. It's not the same thing. All right. So understanding the tools. So we're going to talk today about marketing content creation and how you can use AI to develop that. We're going to be talking about client communication and admin, those sort of back end things that we all have to do that some of us enjoy, most of us don't. Also, business operations. How can you run a tighter, better business? Asking the right questions. And brand strategy. Help me. I think I know my brand. Sometimes you know your brand, but you might need validation sometimes. You need somebody to say, yes, you are on the right track. This is effective. This is working. Here's how you could probably brand yourself a little bit better. So, what I think is so important is that you think of AI as your personal assistant that works 24/7 and never complains. Now, all of these images were created by AI specifically for this class, and it's really cute. AI is not perfect. As you can see, there's like extra fingers, I think, on this. It's still working itself out. It's still getting better every day. You kind of have to sometimes go back and go, no, this isn't quite right. And I'm going to show you some things where it does well and some mistakes that it sometimes makes. All right. So there's lots of AI out there. This is just a handful. There's even one by Microsoft that I forgot to put on here that I will make sure to add that later. But here's the most common tools that people are using out there. ChatGPT is probably the most well-known, probably the most popular. I use ChatGPT quite a bit. Um, Gemini is another one. I also use Gemini with Google. That is their AI. There's also Claude, and a lot of people are switching over to Claude because they have a lot more, how do I put this? They sort of market themselves as being the more ethical um, AI tool. There's also things like Canva Magic Write and Perplexity. There's Leonardo. If you're an artist, I have a friend of mine who's an artist. He uses Leonardo quite a bit. So there's a lot of things out there for you to choose, and I'm not going to tell you which one to use. They all kind of work similarly. So learning how to talk to it is really the most important thing that you can do. I'm just looking at some of the chats and I'm loving it. Hi, Howard. Been doing hair for 50 years. Howard, you must have seen so many changes. And yet, at the end of the day, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I feel like so much has changed and yet so much hasn't changed at all. At the end of the day, it really is still about that client relationship and word of mouth. And these are just tools to help you get there faster. That's all they are. But, and then Lynette also in Palm Desert, that's just down the road for me. Hi, Lynette. Great to see you. All right, how AI actually works. So I'm going to get into how you talk to it and why these things are important for your AI tool of choice to know. Your AI tool of choice needs to know these things. It needs to know who you are. It needs to know all about your business. It needs to know start to learn your tone of voice and how you sound. And then you have to give it tasks. So it's going to do what you tell it to do. Here's what most people get wrong. They treat it like a Google search. Now, here's an interesting fact that I forgot to mention. The first year that ChatGPT came out, only about less than, I think it was like 6% of searches online were done using ChatGPT. Last year, Google is the search engine, right? It's the one everybody uses. Last year, it went from about 6% to about 18% of all searches we're done using AI, we're done using ChatGPT. So that number is going to keep growing. So here's what some people do wrong. They give it one sentence prompts. It needs more information. It needs more context. You have to give it as much information as you can, as succinctly as you can. No context. So, and then blind copying, pasting. So no context. I use this photo over here as a really great example because I wanted AI to create an image of my dog, that's my dog Ruth, with cucumbers on her eyes, like you would see in a spa. Because we always joke that when she goes to our friend Justin's house, that she's going to the Otopac spa. That's his last name. So I wanted to create these images of Ruth at the Otopac spa. And I wanted her to have cucumbers on her eyes or over her eyes. I think that's what I said. Well, it did exactly what I said, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. It put the cucumbers on top of her head, over her eyes, above her eyes, not covering her eyes. So you have to start learning, okay, I need to use different verbiage. I need to figure this out. I need to give it context. So that's a great example of AI did exactly what I said. Another one that I've seen going around is someone wanted to do an image of the Last Supper and they wanted to see Jesus doing flipping over the table. And this, I hope this isn't sacrilegious or offensive to everybody. They wanted an AI photo of Jesus flipping over the table. Well, what they got was an image of him doing a backflip, like a cartwheel over the table. Very different photo. Anyway, another thing people do wrong is they do a blind copy and paste. You still want your emails, you still want your client communications, you still want all of those things going out there to sound like you, to sound like a human being. So you don't want to just copy and paste. You want to go in and you want to edit it, you want to change it, you want to make it more personal. You can always, usually, you can often tell when it's been written by AI because AI likes to do things like put sentences in bold text and a lot of M dashes, if you know what those are. So, all right. And feel free, if you have any questions as we go, you can put those in the chat. I'm happy to stop and I'm happy to answer related to whatever I'm speaking to. All right, here's the better picture. Here's the picture of Ruth with cucumbers on her eyes as I wanted at the Otopac spa. So when you're talking to it, because it's not always going to get it right the first time, you can go back and say, make it sound warmer, make it shorter and clearer. Because sometimes when I ask it to write an email, it's too long. Nobody wants to read a 5 paragraph email. Nobody wants more than 2 paragraphs in an email. So I want emails to be succinct. I want them to be friendly. I want them to be professional. So I'm going to coach my AI to make it sound more like I want it to. And I want them to be as short as possible so people will actually read them. I think where this comes in for you as a provider is to make sure that when you're sending out client communications, like your cancellation policy or your confirmations, you don't want to give too much information. You want to be very clear, very succinct so that people actually read it. You can say less salesy, more like how I speak. You can talk about the client relationship. She was my mom's friend, and so and so. You can give your AI context for those communications. All right. So let's do some examples here really quickly. So, number one, business assistant. So, this is how you're going to train your AI to get to know you and begin to communicate like you and help you develop marketing program and other programs and other things that are important to you. So, here's just an example that you might type or even speak. You are my calm professional business assistant. I love that. Calm professional. I am an independent salon suite professional. You can insert your specialty. Maybe I'm a lash artist. I value clarity, warmth, and boundaries. Help me write, plan, and respond in a way that sounds like me. Ask clarifying questions when needed. So, this is important. I want you to remember this. You often need to ask AI to ask you questions. You know everything. You have all the information. It doesn't. So what you do is say, if you have any questions that might be pertinent, ask me. And AI will come back and go, have you thought about this? What about this? Should I put this in there? And then you can answer that and go forward. So that's great. So what this does is it improves everything you ask after that. The more it gets to know you, the less you have to talk, the less you have to type. So it knows everything about me, as scary that is, at least about my business. So I don't have to tell it every single time. It knows all the classes I teach it. It knows, it knows my objectives. It knows everything. So it saves a lot of time. Here's another prompt. Write an Instagram caption about blank. Let's say vampire facials. What is a vampire facial? You ask? Well, help me explain this to my Instagram followers. Write an Instagram caption about vampire facials. My tone is friendly, confident, and human. Avoid hype or buzzwords. Keep it under 120 words and rewrite it if it sounds generic. So it can help you with captions, it can help you with promotions, service explanations, all kinds of things to help you communicate better with your ideal customer. And here's another prompt. Help me respond to this client message. So let's say I get a text message and I'm like, oh gosh, she's so mad. I don't know if she's mad, but she sounds mad. So I don't know how to respond to this, especially in a text. I want to call her, but she doesn't like being called. So I'm going to ask AI to help me with this really fraught, tense situation. So help me respond to this message professionally and kindly while holding my boundary. Maybe I'll give it an example. Be calm, do not over explain or apologize. So AI can help me communicate in a way that might be better and avoid any sort of unnecessary confrontation or tension and help do a little bit better job. Because I think we've all had those moments where we're like, how do I deal with this? What do I do? What do I say? And of course, you're going to get a lot of advice from your fellow professionals, and sometimes you take it, sometimes you don't. But here's a great way to sort of understand that. So it can help you with boundaries. It can help you with promotions and awkward messages. All right. When to use AI? When you feel stuck, when you feel like you're repeating yourself, when you feel like you need to be more clear, I don't think I was clear. I don't think it sounds clear. My husband, he's a realtor. He'll send me his listing uh, uh, descriptions all the time. I'll read them, and if I have questions, I'll let him know. AI can help you with that. So here's when not to use it, when it's emotional or personal. When, when it involves private client info. This is super important because AI is part of this big, vast, universal system that everybody's using. Do not give it information that you don't want other people to know. That is important. So it knows about my business, it knows about my classes, it knows about things like that, but it doesn't really know a lot of personal information about me that I don't want other people to know or my clients. So be very careful with the kind of information that you are giving it. Keep it professional, keep it business, keep it, you know, anything that isn't private. All right. And don't use it when you're just avoiding somebody. All right. So I've got some more advanced slides I'm going to show you after this because I think we have a little more time than I usually take for this class. This class is usually 30 minutes, but we have a little more time. So I'm going to show you this and then I'm going to show you a couple more advanced demos, and then we'll do a Q&A. All right. So before you leave, here's something. If you have your chat, if you have your AI, whether it's Gemini, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude or any of the other AI programs that you choose to use, you can type this prompt. You are my calm, professional business assistant. Then save that, reuse it, and refine it. All right, here I'm going to do we have any questions so far? And then I'll give you some advanced stuff. All right, let's talk about, and you can put those questions in the chat. Let's do a little bit advanced work. So again, I've mentioned this before. For your AI to be effective, you have to, what was the previous prompt? Let me go back. You are my calm professional business assistant. Maybe you want a sassy business assistant. You could be like, hey, my brand is sassy. You are my calm, professional, and sassy personal business assistant. So you can give it a personality and it will develop a personality, but it usually is reflecting your personality. It starts to understand you and it starts to reflect that back. All right. Here's some advanced things. So when you're really like, you know what? I want more. I'm gonna go gung ho. I want to just power through because I'm stuck and I need help with my marketing and I need more clients and I need them now. Here's one way to really fast forward. Get to know me. Ask me 10 questions about my business and my goals. So your AI, ask it to ask you questions because you don't know what it needs to know. And it will come up with 5 or 10 questions, whatever you want, that it thinks it needs to know about your business in order to help you. So and it will help me understand my client. Here's another one. Describe my ideal client based on I'm a balayage specialist, a mid-30s woman, business professionals want low maintenance luxury hair. So begin to tell it who your client is. And if you don't know who that is, ask it to ask you questions so that you can figure it out with it. All right, Becky, rebuilding clientele after taking a break for 10 years, doing hair for 36 years now. I specialized in lived-in blondes. That is fantastic. Balayage and root touch-up. Can I target my, we'll let that sentence finish. So one way that I would use that is once you figure out who your ideal client is, you can then say, okay, help me write the perfect Google listing. What do I need in my Google listing? Because 2/3 of all new clients still come from referrals. So when somebody gets a referral and they get your name, the first thing they're going to do is go to your Google listing. So help AI help me with my Google listing. What kind of photos do I need to have up there? What do I need to say? Then they're going to go to your Instagram because your Instagram is like a portfolio. Help me write my Instagram bio. What information do I need to have at the top of my Instagram? Do I need to pin? Yes. Can I target my ideal audience with AI? So what you're going to do with that is you're going to tell it who your ideal audience. It's not going to do it for you. It's going to help you do it better, faster. So you're going to say, how can I do it better, faster? Here are my strengths. Here are my weaknesses. Here is what I do. Here is my ideal customer. How do I reach those people quicker? I live in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Where are the places I can go where that ideal customer is going? Help me. And it will come up with a million ideas. You'll be blown away at the kind of things. One thing you can do, and Becky, I don't know you, so I'm not trying to assume anything, but I'm gonna use an example. I have a friend in Salt Lake City. She's my old assistant. She hates Instagram, hates it. She doesn't want to do Instagram. Now, believe it or not, you can still build a business without using Instagram. So what we did is we asked AI, look, my friend, she hates Instagram, but she wants to build her business. She wants to go after moms in their early 30s who have these issues, and these are the problems I'm solving. What are some other ways that I can market myself that don't involve Instagram? Oh, Becky, Utah, woohoo! That's where I'm originally from, is Salt Lake City. So you don't have to do everything it says. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. But AI can help you figure out your own way. North Salt Lake, I used to live on Wall Street in the Marmalade, so I was about 5 minutes away from you. That's great. All right, here's another thing you can do. Maybe you love Instagram and you only use Instagram. You can say that. I only use Instagram. Help me market myself. Or I need help with this. So you can ask it to help you create a marketing plan. Help me create a 45-day marketing plan to reach my ideal client that includes Instagram, Google, and email. You know, a lot of Becky hate Instagram. You know, there are ways to do it without. Okay. Here's some other things that you could use it for. Draft a workflow for onboarding a new client. I know somebody who used it to help them develop a really great intake sheet for their clients. That was super helpful. You can help it build a revenue goal plan. You can talk about your money. You can say, look, I want to make $20,000 more a year next year, and here's what I'm doing. What are some ways that I could make $20,000 more per year in my business without doing any more work or minimal work? And it will come up with some ideas. It'll work with you. It's sort of like it is like a coach. You're going to sort of collaborate with it to come up with ideas. And that's what I use it for pretty much every day. Like, help me. I feel stuck. Um, I help it with dinner parties. We throw a ton of dinner parties here in Palm Springs. So let's say I'm hosting a French themed dinner party. So I will say, look, I live in Palm Springs. I'm hosting this French themed dinner party in July. It's going to be 110 degrees. I don't want to use the oven. Help me come up with a menu and help me come up with decorations and ideas for the party. So it does that for me all the time. So it can help you also, again, craft those client communications and do a better job there. All right, here's another challenge for you. Open AI and ask it write a Instagram, one Instagram caption, draft a policy message. Here's my cancellation policy. Here's my no-show policy. Here's my late policy. Draft an email for your new prices. I'm going to raise my prices in July. Help me draft that email for my clients. All right. Here's another next step and some ideas to think. If it doesn't sound like you, don't use it. Practice this once a week. Remember, you don't have to be perfect. There's no pressure. AI will never judge you. I promise you that. It wants to make you happy, as weird and creepy as that might sound. It wants to do right by you and it wants you to come back. All right. Any questions? Let's open it up for Q&A. I'll stop sharing.
Hey Matthew, I'm back.
Hi, welcome back.
Hey, what an amazing presentation.
Thank you.
Super helpful even for me and my own world in posting. A lot of great tips that I'll be taking with me and applying as well.
Good. I think the
Awesome.
most important is just being honest about your wants and your needs and your strengths and your weaknesses and and giving it as much information as possible. Like I said, when I go to it now, I don't have to explain myself anymore. As uncomfortable as that might be for some people, it knows a lot about me, which saves me a lot of time.
Yeah, you've trained your own algorithm.
Yep, yep,
Yeah, so it's easier to use.
absolutely.
Awesome. Cool. Well, did we have any questions? Looks like we have one in the Q&A from Brianna. How do you suggest to use AI to communicate with an AI integrated booking system? I use Square.
How do how do I use a, would you ask that again?
Yeah, how do you suggest to use AI to communicate with an AI integrated booking system?
You know, it's interesting. I would ask that question of AI. This is what's so great about it. You can ask that same question and say, I want you to communicate with Square. How do I go about doing that? And if it can, it will tell you. And what's great is it will also give you three options. I use it all the time. I say, uh, I use Thinkific learning management system, and sometimes I use it almost as a user's guide. I'll be like, how do I go and fix this problem that I have inside this other program? And it will give me three different options. And if it says, look, you can't do that yet, but here's a workaround for you. So it'll give you all the possible workarounds, all the possible scenarios. So I think it will answer that question for itself.
Awesome. Okay, from Katie. If I have never used AI, what would you suggest be the place to start? With operations or marketing or somewhere else?
Well, that's going to be depending on your goals. And this again is where AI can help. You can ask AI, look, I want to use you. I don't know where to start. I don't know whether to start with this or with that. Can you ask me a few questions that will help us get to that point together? So it may be like, I don't know what my goals are. Can you ask me some questions that will help me clarify them? I don't know if I need marketing first or business first. Can you ask me some questions that might help clarify for me? And here's the deal. You already know the answers, but I think our brains get so cluttered with information and anxiety, and we're like, I need to do this and I need to do that. Where do I start? But the answers are in there. And so what the AI is, it's not going to answer those questions for you, but it's going to help you realize that you have the answers and it's going to help you clarify those.
Love
So
that. Awesome. Question from Barbara. I'm a manicurist and my target audience are males. How do I reach or pitch to the age group between 35 years old and 55 years old?
again, that's a great question for I love this because the answer is always going to be, it's kind of repetitive, but the answer is always going to be the same. That's a question for AI I could answer that. I could give you my opinion, how you're going to do that, but it's going to do it better. Because it's going to take all the learning from all the people in the whole world and it's going to put that in one place.
Awesome. And I think you can also put in your, at least your location. And I think AI can kind of analyze like the demographic and things like details of your area. So that could be really helpful
Mhm.
to include in the prompt as well.
100%. Give it as much information as you can, specific, detailed information as you can, and it's gonna really help. Yeah.
Without putting in any private information.
Exactly, exactly.
Within
Yep.
reason.
Thank you.
Yes.
The most general, I mean, you can say I live in Salt Lake City. I do manicures for men? And can you give me some marketing tips on how to reach that ideal customer? And it will come up with some ideas.
Awesome. I did want to just say we had a comment from Leola. Thank you for this webinar. Awesome. Love this with the heart. Thank you, Leola, for being here with us. Question from Brianna. Have you asked the same questions to different AIs and gotten different responses?
Um, I Yes and no. I think one of the challenges is that once you train one particular tool, it's sort of like if you're an Apple user or an Android user. Once you have your Apple sort of ecosystem, you're like, I can't be bothered to learn how to use an Android, or vice versa. I think that's the same with some of these AI models, and it's what we're talking about here are what are called large language models. So what that means is they're taking all the information that is public and they're putting that together and coming up with answers. And so you're likely to, and I have done that. I've used Claude, I've used ChatGPT, and I've gotten different answers, but similar answers. Now, there are what are called closed language models. So let's say I'm also writing a book. And I don't want to put my book on a large language model like ChatGPT because if you put your manuscript onto ChatGPT, it becomes public and you're no longer able to copyright that information and keep it for yourself. So I'm not going to put my book on ChatGPT, but there's a closed language model called Notebook, for example, through Google, and I can put it in there and it won't share that information with other people. So Google, for example, has Notebook that can help you that isn't going to share your information. Those are called closed language models. So
Awesome. Yeah, comment from Becky. Best way is to jump in and use it as a business partner.
100%, 100%. I guarantee it's going to teach you how to use it. And that's great. Shannon, I'm going to put some information here in the chat. I'm going to put the link
Perfect.
to the podcast. I'm also
Oh,
going to put
awesome.
my website, our image website. What else? And my email address.
Perfect. Yeah, and then we'll also make sure to include all of these links in the post-webinar follow-up email that everyone will be receiving. Again, it will be probably going out by the end of the day, if not by tomorrow morning. Please make sure that you're checking your spam folders because sometimes it is sent there. So it will be sent. Check all your folders, please, and thank you. If we didn't have any other questions, we can go ahead and wrap up today's session a little bit early. I want to thank you so much, Matthew, for your time and for
Oh,
being our
thank you.
first host for Hairstylist Appreciation
Woohoo!
Month. Yes, very, very excited. Again, we are providing a lot of free resources that are dedicated to hairstylists across the US. So definitely tune in for that. And thank you again, everyone, for being here with us today.
You're doing amazing work. Thank you so much, Shannon.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Have a great
Bye.
day.